Yo, welcome to Living Good with Dom. How to get out of a bad cycle. This episode is really near and dear to me because I've been one who's been on the roller coaster going up and down and up and down and up and down. And you feel like, yo, when does it end? So this episode, if you're going through a bad cycle and you consistently been going through that bad cycle, this episode is going to show you how to eject yourself out of it and then create a new cycle for yourself. I remember just being in a space of always not having what I needed to thrive. Always in a space of needing just a little more to get to my goal. And I just always missing the mark. In this episode, I'm going to teach you how I began to hit the mark and stop missing it. Yo, what's up? It's Dominic Malone. Welcome to the Living Good podcast. You are here with episode number 3, and it is titled, hold on, let's dial into the divine hotline and see what this title is supposed to be. What we talking about today? Hello. Oh yeah. Yeah, I need that one too. Just give me the download. We get busy. All right. Peace. Yo. So we talking about how to stop a bad cycle. Oh. You know, I think about it's interesting. I want to slow us down a little bit. Yeah, let's slow us down a little bit. Y'all welcome. I hope your life is good. I hope your day is going well. I've been having a good day today. This is episode 3 of the podcast, and it's been a journey getting here. I have my own personal bad habit of starting and stopping before I'm finished. So the fact that we're on episode 3, we got everything we needed from the cameras, to Alex helping us with the photo and video. I'm just really excited about this. So let's dig into the topic. Let's take our time. I thought about this topic of how to stop yourself from being in bad cycles, because a lot of the homies I am around and the people I see in general, you kind of stuck in a loop. You get to a place and it's like always getting stricken or always being tagged out at like third base. It's like you can never make it home. I think about those times, I'm like, yeah, that shit don't have to be. I think if we knew how to break a cycle and how to do it on 3 dimensions, this is what we're really talking about today. How you can break your cycle, but it takes you understanding where the habit starts from. Ooh. Yeah, we're gonna talk about where the habit starts from and then where it grows into. So let's start with this. A cycle, a habit usually has roots in 3 different places, right? So think about something you do. Think of you always run into the same kind of person that you're dating. You like, I always meet the cool guy, but he's an asshole come 3 months. I'm always getting a job and getting fired. I always save money and then blow it. You know, I always lose weight, and the next thing you know, like the weight is back. If this is some of the things you go through, or you happen to get to a point and get dropped right back, then this is the podcast for you. All right, so in the Living Good podcast, we help you go from living just okay to living good. So let's jump into it. Yo, habits are really started in, I think, 3 places. I know 3 places. You got the mind, you got the body, and you got your spirit. When we think about habits, we usually only address the habit from the mind. We're like, or the body. Sometimes you'd be like, yo, I'm eating too many sweets, I'm just gonna stop. That's like a way to physically stop it. Or like, yo, I keep going down this rabbit hole, I'm gonna try to think about something else. That's the mental. The spiritual is, before I even believed this habit had control over me, who was I and who did I think I was to even be engulfed in this habit? So you really have 3 areas you got to think about before you even get to breaking these cycles down, right? So let's talk about it. In the Living Good podcast, we break things down 3 ways all the time. Self-knowledge, then we give you the self-work, what you can do, and then we might give you some self-care tips, but we really go from self-knowledge to self-work. All right, so here we go. The mind. When you want to break a habit, you got to think about where it started from. How did you even get into this flow or in this cycle? Most times we are conditioned, trained, taught things that we never remember the origin of. You're like, yeah, I just like chocolate. I just like going out on to the movies on Wednesdays, but you don't remember where that thought or that idea or that pattern started from. So to really address how to break out of a cycle, you got to first think about like, yo, what am I telling myself about this habit? What is my belief pattern around this habit, right? If you spend money wild crazy, then you gotta dig and believe like, yo, how come I can't save? Like, what are my ideas, y'all? I used to be kind of guy who could make money and not keep it, right? I had to really dig into my brain and be like, yo, how come every time you get a bag, you spend the bag? Like, how come the money gone? And it's like, what do I believe about keeping money? Do I believe it's, yo, if I don't spend it now on things that I want, that I'm not gonna have to be able to obtain it later? Do I believe that I can get money whenever I need to? I don't have to be a good steward of money to get more money, right? So I think when you step into how to break your cycle, let's start with the mind first. What do you believe about this particular habit? Do you always go for the person who doesn't care about you because you like chasing? Oh man, I thought that hit somebody. I thought that hit somebody. Like, you gotta think, right? You really gotta break it down. If every time you get into a dating scenario, you high off the horse, happy, feeling good, loving, it's the greatest experience of your life, and then 8 months later, you like, yeah, I don't know what happened to her, man, F her, fuck him, no, whatever. You gotta think like, how come my habits go from I'm so enthralled and in love with this person to like, boop, drop. You know, it's like, did you make up something in your mind about this person that wasn't true? So you got to think about what you believe about these habits, right? Let's talk next about spirit. This is the most important one. Most people, most psychologists, sociologists, anybody talking about breaking habits, they don't always dig into the spirit, and the spirit has to do with your identity. Who are you beyond your emotions, beyond your name, beyond your conditioning? Who are you? This is important because most people don't know you can break your own habits. You think because you don't like this is a crazy, stupid example, but you think because you don't like romantic movies, you can never love romantic movies. But you got to think about in your first place, like, okay, if I can create my ideas about myself, if I can create a habit, if I can create a pattern, then I can learn or train myself to love something, right? For example, I cannot stand running. Like, it's like the vein of my existence. But I literally run because I know that in my mind, if I begin to do the things that I'm not exactly excited about, I can create a new conditioning, a new mental conditioning. My body will get used to it. My mind will get used to it. I'll begin to expect to run in the morning times, right? I only know that because I assume the identity of a creator, because I'm connected to the creator. And my base identity is that of a creator. So that means I know I can create my ideas. I know I can create my habits. I know I can create my mindset. I know I can create my own boundaries. So that's mad important. The next thing you got to think about when trying to really like break down a cycle and switch it is, oh man, this is so good. You ever heard somebody say the body wants what the body gets? Or the mind wants what the mind gets? If you ever been on a fast before, and then you're like, yeah, I'm like, don't even want sweets no more. And then you start giving yourself sweets, eventually your body starts expecting it. And eventually your body is craving it more than any other part of you. It's the same thing with sex too. Like, if you like had a hot girl, hot boy summer, and then you just, next thing you know, this becomes your habit of like, yo, I just need something new all the time. Your body got conditioned to wanting something. Now, if your body is now conditioned to want something, you gotta kind of starve it of that stimulus. So it's like re-regulate it, or you gotta replace that with something else. Like, for example, I think I've been saying a lot about doom scrolling. All right, cool. Now your brain is just used to getting new information. brand new images and pictures and ideas. Okay, that's cool, right? Let's say you want to replace that habit, but you know you're supposed to be learning something right now. Then you can replace the scrolling with different micro information. Like, all right, cool. I'm gonna just take a new body of information for this thing I really want to learn, for this cycle I really want to get into. So when you're breaking the cycle, you got 3 things to consider: your mind. And I forgot to tell you something. When thinking about the mind, you should really be thinking about like what you tell yourself about the thing, because you have a belief that you currently believe about it. This is why you're doing it. But you can also reprogram that belief, right? So now it's like, I tell myself I'm going to enjoy running, I'm going to enjoy the health benefits of it. So now you got to bring an affirmation in, something positive in, when you're about to experience the thing that you really don't like. Like, you don't have to be stuck in it. It's like, what you don't like and what you don't want to do is not concrete. It's malleable. You can shift those things. But now you got to start telling yourself something different. Tell yourself, I love it. I like it. It's cool. When I work out, I be working out and shit get hard. I'd be like, in my head, I'd be like, it's easy. It's easy. It's easy. On the most difficult thing, I tell myself it's easy. My brain is like, my body's struggling. My brain like, he said it's easy. Let's keep going. You feel me? So it just works that manner. So here's the self-work part, right? No matter where you are, if you're in your car, if you are at home, I want you to think about a habit you want to break. Maybe you smoke too much weed. Maybe you watch too much porn. Maybe you spending too much money as soon as you get it. Maybe you swiping too many lefts or rights on the app. I don't know which one is the accept and don't accept. I was done dating by the time dating apps came. Maybe you swiping too much on the app, right? Maybe you scrolling too much on the Instagrams. Maybe you hitting your ex up too much because you're in the habit of just talking to that person. I want you to think about a habit you want to break, right? And then I want you to go through the 3 dimensions you have to self-correct to break that habit. The mind. What do you believe about that habit that keeps you running back to it? Next, I want you to recreate an affirmation or a word or a phrase that puts you where you want to be with that habit, right? So if you like wake up in the morning, you go straight to juice, it's like, I enjoy drinking water in the morning, even though you like really want some juice. All right. You have the power to switch your brain in a new direction. You gotta just believe that. I don't even want you to believe me. I want you to try that. Try that and watch it work. Okay. The next dimension I want you to work on is the body. You have to figure out what your body has become used to getting. And you may have to go cold turkey with that and just break that so your body's not used to it no more, or you may have to replace the habit with something else. In the spirit, this is the most important one. You really have to start understanding who you really are. You are not your anxiety. You are not your depression. You are not your sadness. You are not your anger issue. You are not your your angst. You're none of that. All that is learned things. Like you learned to, or you've been conditioned, trained to have those kind of things be prevalent in your life. You have to now be able to say, okay, these are things I experience, but it's not me. Now, when you get to the point where you can say, all right, these are things I'm experiencing about anxiety. Or sometimes I experience about anxiety. Sometimes I experience depression. If I'm saying I am, and then think about who you really are, a creator who can create new patterns of thinking, create new emotional states, create new ideas and behaviors that go against the way you feel. Oh, I can hear some of y'all right now, like, why would I go against the way you feel? All right, listen. Everything you feel is not what you're supposed to be doing. You need an example? I got an example for you. All right. Crackheads love crack. They feel like smoking crack. Should they be doing it? Obviously no, right? Somebody with diabetes feels like eating cake. Does that mean you should be eating the cake, right? Somebody with a wife feels like going out and cheating on their spouse. That mean they should do it? No. So that lets you know that your feelings should not dictate your directions all the time. Your feelings are a source of power. Just think about what you do when you're like enraged. You could like lift weights that you've never been able to lift. You can break things you've never been able to break. It's a surge of energy, and you can direct that energy if you choose. So if you want to break the cycles in your life, you got to think about how to break them mentally, physically, and spiritually. And if you assume that you have control over your life, then you will assume that you can also create these new patterns. So that's episode 3 of Living Good with Dom. I hope you understood the 3 ways in which you can begin to chop down these habits that aren't serving you. And I hope you understand that you can create new ideas, new beliefs, new habits that give you the life that'll make you say, I'm living good. Y'all have a beautiful day. I'll see you next time. Peace.
I received my divine assignment so I could